You know, this is a very fast-paced industry, and there's a lot going on. But we decided we wanted to just slow down just for a few minutes and basically reintroduce ourselves to you guys, because maybe some of you don't know who we are, don't know much about us.
A lot of you know me as Hollywood. It's a funny persona, somewhat of a hothead in some situations. Some of you know me truly for who I am, and some of you know Michael, but a lot of you don't. And that's really hard to portray on camera.
We want to answer the question, who are Michael and Josh Bell, AKA Mike and Josh?
With that in mind, it's important that you guys know who you're actually doing business with. Where did we come from? How did we get here?
You're about to find out. My parents thought that I was the last of their kids. They had 4 kids, and 2.5 years after I was born, Josh entered the world.
Growing up, we didn't have all that much money. My dad was a pastor, and I'm the youngest of 5 kids, all within 6 years of age. So, you know, money's tight back then.
We had a unique childhood, to be honest with you, and I hate admitting this, but the truth is I was not a friendly brother. I mean, I truly was a bully. By every definition of the word. I'd take things that were his, we'd fight, pick on him. He was just my, you know, my little brother, my kid brother, and, you know, annoyed me and all that. Not just your typical older brother stuff. Like, I truly was like, it was bad. But that all changed one day. My parents took me to El Salvador for a ministry trip. We were there for 1 week, and while we were there, we went to the beach. No one else on the beach, just the 3 of us. We went in the water. And before we knew it, a rogue wave came. It took us under, pulled us out to sea. For 15 minutes, I was fighting for our lives. I remember just holding my breath as much as I could for as long as I could. And I'd come up, you know, and break the surface. I'd gasp for air, and immediately another wave would pull me under. Pushing me down and being thrown and being so disoriented, and it's pitch black, you know, my eyes are closed and I'm holding my breath. And I'm under the water and I'm just thinking, there's no way that I'm gonna survive this. And all of a sudden I feel this hand grab me and pull me up, and it's this El Salvadorian worker who was working on a building next door, and he risked his life to come save me and save my parents. And I was changed. That trip changed me. My compassion for my brother changed. My love for him changed. I no longer saw him as an annoying little brother. I saw him for who he was, and that was a unique individual that, you know, created by God.
I remember it very vividly. He had actually brought me a gift from his trip, and it was his idea, was to give me this little notepad to draw on. I started practicing trying to draw the state of Texas, a really hard state to draw, and he kept coming over and saying like, hey, that's great, like that looks awesome, man, I'm so proud of you, whatever. And it was just so bizarre. It was like, it was a completely and entirely different brother had come home, you know, someone that I looked up to, and I still do to this day, quite literally, because he is like 3 inches taller than me. But from then on, I mean, our relationship was just something very special that I held to very near and dear, from teaching me to play drums, teaching me how to play guitar.
It was in middle school we started, you know, playing music together. I was a drummer and he played the guitar, and so we, you know, started playing around, doing different things like that. And
singing worship songs and doing all of that.
And then in high school, we played sports together because we both went to the same high school.
When he's a senior, I'm a freshman, and we're playing on the same basketball team. It wasn't that typical relationship that you have with your older brother as a younger brother, and that was reciprocated.
It was really during those teenage years where our friendship just developed and became very, very strong.
It was a very, very special bond that we had. We never really fought. We never really had quarrels. We just clicked and worked very well together.
And then I went off to college. Josh finished his high school career. And then when he came to college, we were college roommates. But even at the time, we didn't think that, you know, 10 years from now, we were gonna become business partners. I graduated, got married, moved to Austin, went into ministry, and, you know, kind of went my own way. A couple years later, Josh graduated, he got married, and he went his own way. And
I worked at an elementary school, and it was a nightmare. Not the kids, but the administration. And I really wanted to go in so that I could be a positive influence on a younger generation, but it ended up being a huge disaster. I was depressed and I thought I'm not fulfilling my potential at all. I knew that there was more out there for me. Got a book and I wrote down some goals. And at the time they seemed very lofty. By this date, I wanted to have a nice truck. By this date, I wanted to have flipped this many houses. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any prospects. I didn't have anything. I just wrote down these goals of this is what I want to do because I want to build wealth for my family. Nobody knew about these goals, but it was still scary. It was still like, I don't want to set myself up for failure. I don't want to look back 5 years and read this and be embarrassed because I'm in the same position.
We did live in the same city, but we weren't doing anything, together at that time other than just, going to church and being around, family. And then I moved. Took my family, we moved to the DFW area, and once again, our lives were separated for a couple years, and we only saw each other for holidays and different things like that. Eventually, he and his wife moved back up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
I purchased a house for $40,000, and it was an absolute mess. It was from the 20s. It had no plumbing, it had no sewage, it had no electrical, it had no HVAC, it had nothing. Frankly, it was a simple concept, but it was how do I build wealth? Buy something of lower value for a good price, you add the value, and then you can sell that, and the value added, you realize the profits. Of course, money is much more complex than that, but that's all I knew, and that's all I knew how to do and to make money. And I got a loan to renovate it. For a year and a half, I would wake up, I would go to this house, and I would work. I did the electrical myself, I did the plumbing myself, I did everything. I had broken my hand, but rain's pouring, and it's pouring into the house, and I've got to get these shingles on. And I don't care if my hand is swollen and bruised, I'm using that nail gun and I'm nailing these in. After all said and done, I was able to profit $100,000 tax-free. That was a pivot point in my life where I realized I could do just about anything. After I'd sold that house, I had done other ones, and I had flipped more houses, and it got easier and easier. That's when I had reconnected with the Navarro brothers. They were old roommates of mine in college, and they were doing this watch thing, and it was so bizarre. It was like, what do you mean you're buying and selling luxury watches? Is that even a thing?
Josh had started, buying and selling luxury timepieces with Wolven, and then when they realized, hey, that we want to launch a YouTube channel, my brother's like, well, my brother does, production for churches and has his own video production company, so let's give him a call.
We all had this vision of actually coming together, creating a business out of it.
So I remember it was a Tuesday evening, and we got together at Javier's downtown Dallas and had dinner and smoked some cigars, and we were talking about, what this partnership could look like with Wolven, and shook hands, signed on that day. Friday, we flew out to Miami, filmed our experience at IWJG, launched the YouTube channel, and the rest is history.
So taking the experiences that Michael and I have had separately, we want to come together, as we already have for several years now, and create a company that you guys will want to watch and do business with, not just once, not just twice, but for the rest of your life. That's our goal, and we're gonna achieve that goal.
And so the reason why I really decided I want to partner with my brother is because he shows immense strength and leadership and the ability to see the big picture, but also be able to see the details. And he truly, truly cares about justice and fairness. And that's the type of person that I want to be in business with, someone that has a high regard for ethics and morals.
I think that he and I are a perfect match for business, and I can't wait for he and I together to excel in this specifically.
And when you get to come together and share a vision and share a drive to do something with someone that you care about and love, it really is an amazing opportunity to continually change each of your lives and your family's lives.
Going into business with your brother can be scary, and I would admit that there's a lot of family members that could not go into business together because it just wouldn't work. I'm extremely excited and I'm extremely confident with what the future holds for us. I think in the end, you guys are going to be extremely proud of what we build, and we're going to be extremely happy that you guys were along for that entire journey. I think it's going to be a really cool experience for all of us. This new company, we're naming it AlphaCrown, and a lot of you are probably wondering why Why AlphaCrown? Is there meaning? And there is meaning. Alpha actually means beginnings. It has very deep biblical meaning, which means a lot to us. Crown also has deep biblical meaning and cross references with timepieces, the crown of a watch, things of that nature.
AlphaCrown Luxury Watch Co. and our faithful subscribers and supporters is part of the Bell brother journey that we're on to build this life and this dream for our families. And so we are honored to have you a part of it, and we're excited for what's ahead.